All right, thanks for tuning in to Leading Forecast today, and let's go on over and we want to talk about Sandy here as it is starting to continually move closer to the east coast and the northeast. A very serious situation um, is going to be unfolding over the next several days. Going on over, taking a look at the current maps here, you can see this is the infrared satellite imagery, or I take that back, this is the visible satellite imagery, and there's Sandy sitting right here. And this thing continues moving kind of off to the northeast. We'll show you that here in just a second. But look at all this cloud cover now associated with the Hurricane Sandy moving up through the East Coast. A lot of precip now spreading across the East Coast here from North Carolina, the Virginias, even up in towards New Jersey, towards New York, and then some more along this or out here along Ohio into Pennsylvania down towards eastern Kentucky. Going on over, taking a look at the visible satellite imagery. This is a closer view of Sandy, and the circulation is right in here, and that's where your center is going to be. And you can see a very large storm moving off the East Coast. As of 2 a.m. or I'm sorry, let's see. I think this is supposed to be 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Sandy had winds of 75 miles per hour, 90 mile per hour gusts. We are down to 951 millibars. This is a very, very low pressure centered storm. Very rare. It's 270 miles southeast of the Cape Hatteras, North Carolina. And if I didn't say it before, moving northeast at 14 miles per hour. Here's kind of the cone, expected to kind of move north and northeast before making that quick westward turn and making landfall right now. It looks like somewhere on the Jersey Shore there, but there is kind of that little cone area. We're not 100% sure. Let's go on over and we'll take a look. We're going to kind of take a look at landfall models here, and you can see this is the NAM model and making landfall here up towards the Jersey coast. All these isobars, these are packed tightly, and basically what that measures is pressure. And the reason these are all getting packed so tightly, and the reason the storm is really blowing up, is you have cold air sitting right here in back of it, and all this warm air coming up here. And when those two clash, these storms really deepen and become very strong. By the time we get, that was as we got into Monday, Tuesday. Here's your low sitting here. We still have rain breaking out all around the low pressure center, still coming onto the coast as well as now coming down through Indiana and Ohio. Getting a closer look, this is the GFS. Here's a low sitting right here, making landfall in the Jersey Shore area. Rain spreading all the way through the northeast, with the heaviest rain basically up towards New York, out through Pennsylvania, and then down back through the Virginias, Delaware, even North Carolina, getting in on some of that. Taking a look at the wind gusts here, this is the the 10-meter wind vectors, which is pretty much the surface. This is the NAM, and this is you can see we just off the coast of Massachusetts here. We have some 50 mile per hour winds down towards New York, down towards Manhattan, down towards the Jersey Shore. We pull in some 45 mile per hour wind gusts, so some very strong winds as these come around and circle the northern portion of the low. Taking a look at the European model, this really tightens the winds up a lot and doesn't spread them out as strong, or as far, and keeps them lower if they do go as far. But you can see still getting some 45 mile per hour winds up towards New York, down towards the islands here, over towards Jersey Shore, and then so the stronger winds are going to be right there where it makes landfall. Going on over some of these gusts, we're watching some of these gusts that could reach up to 75 miles per hour on the north side of this low pressure system wherever it makes landfall. So we'll have to keep a close eye on those. As we get into, this is the GFS model. This is the wind vectors in knots. This is by 5 p.m. tomorrow, and you can see just south of New York here, we're just off the coast, we're dealing with 55 to 60 knot winds here, and then very strong winds on the south side here. But it doesn't look like those are going to reach the strongest winds, according to the GFS, won't make it on shore. But look at the wind gusts. This is what I want to talk about, is we could be seeing some wind gusts of 70 knots, which is in the lower to mid 70 mile per hour range from New York down towards Manhattan, maybe even the Jersey Shore, and then up towards Boston and southern Maine. Some 65 knot winds, wind gusts in there as well. So that's some very, very strong winds. Taking a look, this is as we get into one of the WRF models here. This is by 8 p.m. Tomorrow. You can see there's those 55 to 60 mile per or knots wind streaks coming up through there. And again, the other WRF model really showing even stronger winds starting to try to come on shore here. So, it's going to depend where this depends where this makes landfall. But nonetheless, there's going to be some very strong winds from New York all the way down the Jersey Shore, even up towards Boston and places like that. You're going to get some very strong winds with this storm. The projected rainfall for Sandy, if we can zoom in on this a little bit here, you can see the heaviest rain is going to fall from southern New Jersey all the way through southern Pennsylvania, where they're going to see above 8 inches. But make no mistake, there's going to be a lot of places that see 4 to 8 inches. At least an inch or two, and a lot of places that see more. The big thing I'm concerned about becomes storm surge, where you see. Let's zoom in on this as well if we can. Where you see the yellows, that's 3 to 6 feet. So basically, from Massachusetts all the way down the coast here, and then from South or North Carolina all the way up to New Jersey, that's where we're seeing just 1 to 3 feet. But look at this area right in here. Along most of the Jersey shoreline, all the way up to New York City, Manhattan, places like that, they're predicting potentially 6 to 10 feet of storm surge, and that's a lot of storm surge for those who aren't familiar with these terms. Basically, what storm surge is it's the buildup of the water and then any kind of waves that go in. Basically, it's extra water levels is what it is. So there's a lot more obviously definitions to that than just that, but that's it's basically more water. It's that extra water on top of what is already there as far as the ocean levels. But anyways, so the rain, the storm surge, it's going to be the flooding is going to be the major thing with this. Let's go on over, and I want to take a quick look at, I've had a lot of people asking me, what's going on as far as watches and warnings. Taking a look quickly at some of these warnings. All these like tannish areas up through here, those are high wind warnings. Those are for inland. There's a lot of flood watches and warnings being issued out across this area too. You can't see it because the high wind warnings, but you can see a few of those right there in western PA. All of these purples, these are just storm warnings. Basically, I believe that's 48 to 65 knot winds expected. And then kind of these lighter pinks here, those are hurricane force winds. And if you don't know the definition of that, that's 74 miles per hour or greater. And I think we're definitely going to that's a hurricane force wind warning, and I think we will probably see that along a lot of the coastlines from, say, I don't know, Delaware northward up towards Massachusetts. We'll just have to wait and see. And then everything out here in this red is I believe, a hurricane warning. So, there's so much going on. There's so much to cover. If you go to weather.gov, you can actually go in and actually click on the area where you're want to look at, and it'll give you all the different watches and warnings that are in effect for that area. And so that's a great link right there. So anyways, that's all I have for the day. If you're along the Northeast, stay safe. This is a very serious storm. If you go out, if you still have preparations to make, you need to do those now. You're verging on the line of being too late with those preparations. And so anyways, if you're up there, stay safe and try to have a good weekend.